Hi, welcome to my video on Review 2, Solving Trig Equations with Cosine and Sine Ratios. This review is on the videos 13 to 16. And the reason I did this review, and I'm also going to do another one, because solving equations, I wanted to do a few examples to see if you understood. And this review, or quiz if you want to call it that, is out of 40. And if you're familiar, you do your marks on each question, total up the bottom on the page, do that for each page, and then get your final result and put it over 40. Let's start with number 1. Solve for theta 0 less than or equal to theta less than 360. And we have to solve this equation. Eliminate the bracket by multiplying by 8. 8 sine theta plus 8 root 2 equals root of 32. So the bracket is gone. And now we have to simplify the root of 32. So we've done that in earlier units on simplifying radicals. And the root of 32 is the root of 16 times 2. So it's a 4 root 2. Because we look for a factor of 32, which is the perfect square. Now that we have that done, the 8 sine theta stays on the left, and the 8 root 2 moves to the right, become negative. And we add that's a sign there, just getting ahead of myself. So 4 subtract 8 is negative 4 root 2, and we divide by 8. So sine theta is 4 into 4 goes once, 4 and 8 goes 2, so it's negative root 2 over 2. And we add sugar to coffee. Sine is negative. Sine is positive in 1 and 2, so it's negative in 3 and 4. So we'll draw it in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. There's circles, and we have sine is root 2 over 2, so I know it's a 45, but I'll just draw the terminal arm in quadrant 3, perpendicular to the x-axis. Draw a terminal arm in quadrant 4, perpendicular to the x-axis. Sine is the y, so in this triangle, the y is negative root 2 over 2. Y is negative root 2 over 2. The x is root 2 over 2. And here the x is negative root 2 over 2. And the hypotenuse is 1, so we have a 45 right triangle, so the reference angle is 45 degrees. So the reference angle is 45 degrees. So in the third quadrant, theta is this rotation all the way around here. So theta is 180 plus the reference angle, which is 180 plus the 45. So the third quadrant angle is the sum of these two, 225. In the fourth quadrant, theta is 360 minus the reference angle, which is 360 minus the 45, and that gives you 315. Just if you rotate here, that's a 90, 180, 270, and right to here. So if you rotate all the way around, that's 360, take away 45, you get 315. So there's 8 marks assigned here, and here's how I assigned the marks. 1 for this one, 1 for this simplification, and if you move that over and got this one, you got a mark. If you simplified here, you have a mark. If you picked up the correct quadrants, you got a mark. And if you picked up the reference angle of 45, you have a mark. And then if you picked up the angles here, then you have 8 marks in total. Number 2, again, you can pause the video and work this out before I do. Because we have 2 fractions equal, we cross multiply. So 2 times cos theta minus 3 equals 3 times cos theta minus 2. That's cross multiplying. So we multiply by 2. 2 cos theta minus 6 equals 3 cos theta minus 6. And because the minus 6 is on each side, we can cancel them. So 2 cos theta minus 3 cos theta equals 0. So negative cos theta equals 0. Divide by negative 1. And cos theta equals negative 1. And because we have 0, 1, or negative 1, we look at the circle. And again, this point right here is 1, 0. This point is 0, 1. This point is negative 1, 0. This point is 0, negative 1. Cos is the x. X is negative 1, and that's right here. So cos is negative 1. Not negative 1. What am I talking about? Cos is 0. 0 divided by negative 1 is 0 now. Again, little error. So where's x equal to 0? And so that's at 90 degrees and 270 degrees. Again, sometimes I make those little errors, but I'm sure you recognize that 0 divided by negative 1 was a 0. So that's what theta is, 90 and 270 degrees. 5 marks altogether, and if you cross multiply it correctly, you got a mark. If you've got your cos equals to 0, you got a mark. And if you plotted those points, you got a mark. And we got 2 answers, 5 marks altogether, making a total of 13 for that page. Let's continue. Another one. Again, pause the video and work these out. We have an equation, and notice this time 0 is less than or equal to theta less than 2 pi. That means we want the answer as radians in terms of pi. So multiply by negative 2. We get negative 2 sine plus 6. This is a subtraction, but we put a 1 here. That's negative 1 times that. So it's a negative 4 sine theta plus 4. And a half times negative 10 sine, negative 5 sine. And a half of 12 is 6. And let's simplify this side. So we get a negative 6 sine plus 10. And the reason I do that, because if I simplify each side first, I got less to transpose. Negative 6 sine theta plus 5 sine theta is 6 minus 10. That's, gotta be careful here. That's a 6 and that's a 4. And so that's negative sine theta is negative 4. And, negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 4. Again, making those little, that's a 7. So that's negative 7. So that's negative 1. Again, when I multiply here, I was looking at the 4. I took the 4 times negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is plus 1. 6 and 1 makes 7. Negative 7. So we divide by negative 1. So sine theta equals 1. And because we have a 1, again, we're on the circle. And again, this point is 1, 0. 0, 1, negative 1, 0, 0, negative 1, and sine is the y, and where is y? Y is 1, right here. That's y is negative 1, y is 1, y is 0, y is 0, y is 1, and that means that theta is equal to 90, but we want it in terms of radian, so we multiply by pi over 180 to pick up the radian. 90 equals to 90 once, 982. So as a radian is pi over 2 is the answer. And again, we have 8 marks. So I will go 1 mark, 2 marks, 3 marks. If we simplify to here, I give 2 more marks. That's 5. And if I pick up the point, that's 6, and I pick up a 90 is 7, and a radiant pi over 2, 8 marks in total. And another one to do, find all possible value of theta in radians. So we have to solve the equation first, work out what theta is, and then find all the possibles in degrees. So let's multiply 2 cos theta. Why I say sine again? 2 cos theta times 6 cos theta plus 4 is 12 cos squared theta plus 8 cos. Cos times cos is cos squared, is like an x times x, x squared. And we have 4 times root 3 is 4 root 3. 4 times 3 is 12 cos squared. The 12 cos squares on each side, so they cancels out. So I divide by 8. So cos theta is equal to 8. 4 into 4 goes once, 4 into 8 goes 2, so it's root 3 over 2. And continue. Add sugar to coffee. Cos is positive. Cos is positive in 1 and 4. So let's draw in quadrant 1, which is right here. And let's draw it in quadrant 4, which is right here. Perpendicular to the x-axis in each one. And cos is the x. So the x is root 3 over 2 in each triangle. Root 3 over 2. And the y is a half. And this one is a negative a half. Hypotenuse is 1. Opposite the half is a 30-degree angle. Opposite a half, or negative, is a 30-degree angle. So that means the reference angle is 30 degrees. So in the first quadrant, theta is the reference angle in the first quadrant, which is 30. And in the fourth quadrant, theta is 360 minus the reference angle. So it's 360 minus the 30. Again, theta is all the way around to here, right to here. And if we went all the way over 360, come back 30. And in the first quadrant, theta is the reference angle. So that's 330 degrees. And we want all the period. So the period of cos theta is 360, or 2 pi in radians. So all of them is 30. Add on 360 n, where n belongs to the integers. And we have 330 degrees here. And we add on 360 n, where n belongs to the integers. And that's 10 marks for there. So if you multiplied both sides here correctly, you have 2 marks. If you ended up with root 3 over 2, is 2 more marks. If you end up in the right quadrants, is 2 marks using add sugar to coffee. If you end up the reference angle, so there's 6. And if you ended up with 30 and 130 is 8. If you wrote these 2 answers down, you got 10. And that's a total of 18 for that page. And that's a review of the videos 13 to 16. And the total of each, I got another one to do. I was going fast. Number 5. We have to solve this, but before we start, we notice we have secant. Secant is 1 over cos. So I have 2 secant tan cosecant squared, cos squared, minus cosecant times sine. So if I have secant, secant is 1 over cos, but remember, we can't have cos theta, it cannot be 0, because if you have 0, it's undefined. So that means theta, cos is 0 at, let's look at the 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 0, 0, negative 1. Cos is the x is 0 at the 90 and 270. So I cannot have 90 and 270 because it'll make cos theta equal to 0 and it'll make secant undefined. Also, we have tan, and tan theta is sine theta over cos theta. And again, it's the same, because cos is a denominator, we cannot have it 0, so we cannot have theta to be 90 or 270, because they're what we call extraneous roots. And we also have cosecant. Cosecant theta is 1 over sine, which means we cannot have sine theta. It cannot be 0. So sine is the y, and the y, that means that theta cannot be 0. We could say 0 or 180, because y is 0 at 0 degrees, y is 0 at 180, y is 0. So we cannot have a 90, 270, 0, or 180. So now let's solve the equation and see what we have. We have to think about the extraneous roots. The roots that we can't, if we get these values of theta, any one of these, we can't use them. We got to use any of the other ones. So 2 secant is 1 over cos. Tan is sine over cos. Cos squared. Subtract. Cosecant is 1 over sine times sine. And I remember S and S, so I have to have a C. And that's a C, so I have to have an S. So we have them change. So now I'm multiplying. So that's cos times cos is cos squared. So that, they cancel. They give me 2 sine theta. And we're multiplying here. The sines cancel. And I get a minus 1. So that's 2 sine theta equals 1. Divide by 2. Sine theta is equal to 1/2. And we have to add sugar to coffee. And we got a half. Sine is positive. So sine is positive in 1 and 2. So we'll draw the diagram in quadrant 1. And we'll draw the diagram in quadrant 2. Quadrant 1, terminal arm perpendicular to the x-axis. In quadrant 2, terminal arm goes out from 0, 0, perpendicular to the x-axis. And we have the quadrants. Sine is the y. So the y is 1/2. The y is 1/2. The x is root 3 over 2 in this quadrant, but it's a negative root 3 over 2 in that quadrant. Hypotenuse is 1 and 1. Opposite of half is 30. Opposite, this is a half, so that's 30. So that means the reference angle is 30 degrees. And we need it. Notice we're working out degrees up to 360. And so we're in the first quadrant. So the first quadrant, theta, is the reference angle in the first quadrant, which is 30 degrees. And theta in the second quadrant is 180 minus the reference angle. So it's 180 minus the 30, which is 150. We did all the what we call extraneous roots. So we'll have a 30 and a 150. The 30 and the 150 is not the 90, the 270, or the 0, or the 180. So everything is okay. So these are the answers. So there's 9 marks there. So we can distribute the marks as 1 for each pair of extraneous roots of these two, because these are the pairs we can't have. Simplifying it to right here, each of these. So if you simplify this side, this part, you get 1. If you simplify this part here, you get another one, so that's 4. And If you worked it down to 1/2, you get 5. If you picked up the right quadrant, it's 6. If you picked up the reference angle, it's 7. If you picked up both pairs of answers, you have 9 altogether, and 9 for that page. So that ends the end of this video, and that's a review. So your total of each of your pages, and put your total over 40. Divide 40 into whatever number you have and convert it to a decimal. Move your decimal place 2 places to the right. Hopefully your mark on this review videos 13 to 16 is a good score. And that brings us to the end of the video. Again, if you like my video, click on the like button. And I normally make some errors in my speeches, but I try to correct the errors. Sorry for that. I always make errors. Thing is, I got to correct them and find where they are. And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. And visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. The content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.